Hey guys, welcome to another session of RBTL, or Reading Between the Lines. So today for Thursday's update content patch, we have a couple things. I'm going to say this right at the beginning here. I will not be covering Violet's banner. I will do this on a later video. Violet's banner and even Wanda's specialty change I will not cover in this video. I think I'm running out of time, and then I think they're two separate topics. So we could focus really theorycraft on how to build them, how they should work. First things first, we got more story, which I'm very behind. I'm on chapter 4 right now. I'm not even close. I have to still grind the AP points, and I think the 5-shot for the Breath of Orbis and stuff. They're finally done with the attack set. We got some destruction sets going on. Destruction set is very hard for me to roll myself. I know that a lot of people don't even focus on Banshee hunts yet, so this could be nice to have. I do like destruction sets. I think they have some potential, especially for nuking type heroes. And this one definitely got some good substats. If you have rolled your story, epic quality, epic grade weapons throughout the past, if you got good rolls, I mean they can roll really good. One of my attacking weapons, I got a 30% attack roll out of that one. It's of course it's a T71. It got lucky. I mean, so chances are that out of these substats, chances are you're gonna get at least some good ones. Hopefully not all into effectiveness, otherwise this sword is complete trash. But yes, if this sword was like speed or even health, this would be really good. But yeah, I would definitely roll this one. Yeah, so we're gonna jump my thoughts on Violet and Wanda, all-rounder Wanda. That's the first things first. Okay, wait. Even before, I gotta say this. She has a very hot face. All right, I just gotta out myself. She has a very hot face. I don't know about her outfit. It's kind of like whatever. It looks like a sniper-ish, but the face is really cool. She definitely has the I don't know. Maybe I'll switch up my avatar to be her face. Her face looks really good. Anyways, I'm gonna jump down. We'll talk about that in another video. I'm gonna talk about the new exclusive equipment. To my knowledge, there was no tease on the exclusive equipment coming, and actually I think that this rotation feels a bit quicker than the previous ones in terms of the Sirmia General Purgus batch. This one came pretty quick. I actually almost didn't expect it. But again, more OP heroes become more OP. I would say that this round of exclusive equipment makes more sense than the previous round. Whereas I think Sirmia was never off meta. Kayron started to lose traction, especially with Dizzy and SSB and all these ice heroes. But I'm bringing Kayron back, and because of the Basar and Charles now, the predominant Charles and Basar on defense, I'm bringing Kayron back for some fun, and I'm really glad to see his exclusive equipment. First things first is his base stats, his stats that he gains from the exclusive equipment. I think he's the first hero to have critical hit chance up to 12%. That's monumental kind of stats there. Kayron, one of the things about Kayron is that you really want to build him on an immunity set. Regardless if you go offensive or especially on defensive, he has to be on immunity set. And one of the toughest stats to get is critical hit chance. You're always sacrificing something if you have immunity. And he's not really a bruiser where he can kind of take that 15% gamble because he doesn't have much HP to live with. Whereas bruisers, getting that like 85% crit chance is relatively good, because they have more HP to survive, so the chances are they might get in an additional attack, whereas Kayron most likely will not, except that he has the Immortal. But you could really bait it away. So 12% crit chance is very useful on him. Most Kayrons on immunity set, the best one I've seen so far is about 3,900 attack with 270 crit damage and 85% crit rate. With decent speed, I think 156, 160 speed. That's decent for a Kayron. Now with this, players can now lower their crit chance to be able to benefit from more damage, which is what Kayron really needs, especially due to his Immortal, especially on a defense team. So anyways, I'm very glad this is coming. I'm definitely gonna get this. I'm gonna try to get the 12%. In terms of the actual skills itself, though, I'm not 100% sure on what I would really like. Increases damage dealt by 10% on Void Slash. That's the S1. If he has a buff, he does an AoE. It's a cleave. If you soul burn it, my understanding would be that the 10% increased damage dealt will be added on top of the soul burn. So the soul burn should see a slight more power in terms of like the scale compared to the non-soul burn version, but it's only 10%. I don't know, it feels rather weak. And Apocalypse is additional 10% as well. The inflicting silence for 1 turn, I think, could be usable in terms of like end game PvP right now. What I'm seeing is that if Kayron is going first, or Kayron is going, most people have immunity on, and if you're not one-shotting them anyway, you know, what's the point of the silence? The fact is that with Kayron on a defense team, if you have this one, the inflicting silence, I was just thinking about this like right off the top of my head. Would someone be risky enough to bring in like a champion Zerato to bait a Kayron? It wouldn't really matter anyways, because champion Zerato, even if he counters back the silence, if Kayron is built right, he would be on immunity, so he can't really throw it back. But I was just thinking about like the usefulness of the silence itself. If you are going for a high HP hero, I mean, the silence might not be that beneficial. Silence is usually really good on especially on heroes that have a lot of HP and that could set up for other teams. In terms of like a DPS, if it's like let's say someone has an Earth Vildred and you use this, obviously it's gonna one-shot him, so the silence is kind of not useful there. Inflict silence for 1 turn. Yeah, it's a target. So in terms of the base stat itself on the equipment, I think it's fantastic. It's like triple S tier. But in terms of the other two, I would say Void Slash and Apocalypse 1 would probably be my choices. I'm not sure which one I would choose. Maybe the nuking damage instead of the cleaving damage. So maybe Apocalypse 1 would be my default. Sour Pie says, S3 silence, time for 300 speed Kayron debut. It doesn't matter though, that's the thing. It's like, most people run immunity. That's my thinking. But anyways, I just think the silence is not that good on it. Like in fact, I would almost rather see a Void Slash having an increase on the blind chance. I think that would be a lot more utility in terms of like a 10% more damage, or rather 2 Void Slash, one with like increased blind chance, one with 10% damage, and then Apocalypse with 10% damage. Anyways, that's just ranting. That's just speculation stuff. We'll talk about speculation in the next video. Wink, wink. In the Wanda video. Anyways, Lidica. So Lidica to me seems still very not usable at this point. Thornbush is the S2, and if you run Lidica on the defense team, Lidica still uses the S3 before the S2. So even though you can strip technically 2 buffs if you have the Thornbush exclusive equipment attached to her, I don't know how useful that is, to be honest. While the Wild Rose, the S1, the damage dealt increases by 20%. Don't look down on it. I've been hit by Lidicas built for damage, and she can do quite a bit of damage, especially if you're bringing in squishy heroes to deal with her. I'm talking from a defense perspective. If you're bringing in the squishy hero to deal with her, 20% more damage is quite a bit of damage. Her Wild Rose already did a lot of damage. I think it's a 1x mod if I'm not mistaken, or even a 1.1. But the Wild Rose 2, so S1-2, increases the base combat readiness reduction by 5%. So Code on stream was reminding me that if they're debuffed, it pushes back by an additional, by 1 times. So or 2 times rather. So the base was up to a 10% CR pushback. So it could push up an additional 10% after that if they're debuffed. But if this increases the base, then it could push back a 30% CR pushback. That's quite a bit, especially if your Lidica is very fast. So you could technically keep people pushed back like indefinitely, really. Especially if you have some kind of a speed buffer or other kind of terms of CR pushback. So that's pretty good. Wild Rose is S1 versus... Yeah, Wild Rose is S1. So it could up to 30%. That's not bad. So in terms of like usability, I think the Thornbush is good enough. Most people won't run immunity with another buffer, especially Lidica is pretty quick. So if you're using Lidica on an offensive team, going for Thornbush, additional like dispel the debuff, the only time you would use it technically would be the ML Cecilia with an immunity set defense comp that I could think of right now, and that could be used. I just won't be like your go-to, but I think definitely Wild Rose number 2 is going to be one of those good ones. Especially I think people use Lidica for more crowd control. The other thing we do need to know is that since RTA or World Arena, that's what they're calling it, World Arena is coming, crowd control is going to be king. So I do think that a lot of this improvements on crowd control heroes are going to be useful there. So it's not to say that Lidica is not going to be useful, especially her equipment gives her up to a 16% effectiveness, which is already crucial in her kit. So we probably will see her, I think, in RTA potentially. Like she does bleeds and unhealables and stuff like that too. So I mean, it's not bad to have. Roman is one that I want to highlight here. This is already gonna be very. I think he's already gonna be a competition with Basar. The only thing right now, like off the top of my head here, Basar, the only really like beneficial thing is that Basar on offensive, you don't have to build him with effectiveness. One tackle is Ancient Book and he can ignore it completely. Roman won't have that, but Roman does have a lot in his toolkit, I think, to really spice up the meta. One, that he's an ice hero. So people running the kind of like the Lilius on a defense comp, in order to kind of deter the Basar. So Lilius on a defense comp with Basar going into it is already like a really bad thing. One, Basar can miss her and then she can full cleanse, right? So him being an ice hero, you might be able to have better opportunity to push back Lilius and dispel the rest of the heroes without having much of a negative to it. His base stats is 5 to 10 speed. 10 speed, if you get the max one, he would be at a faster speed than Basar. But we were talking this on stream and I was just trying to confirm it, and I think it is true and it makes sense because the exclusive equipment generally adds the effects on top of what's happening in the game. So after the base calculation with the speed set, 25% speed on Roman's base 105 speed, and then you would add the up to 10 speed on top to his kit. Regardless, Basar is at 109, Harado is at 111, if I remember correctly. If you do have the same speed stuff on Roman and Basar, Roman will have a slightly a bit of advantage. But because it doesn't increase his base speed by 10, it's additional. Your speed set's not going to gain too much. So in terms of like overall speed, Roman will just be a slightly faster than Basar, but he won't be like, you won't be choosing Roman just because he's that much faster. That's all I got to say. Like I said, Basar is broken because of the ignore effect resistance, but Roman does have really good stuff. So Roman's S3 itself increases his own combat readiness by 50% and dispels all buffs and inflicts 2 poisons. And then it says damage dealt increases the enemy is inflicted with 2 poisons effects for 2 turns before increasing the combat's readiness by an additional 30%. So if you can inflict a poison, then you grant another 30%. So he can cut in, technically. Denjo Roman, if a Denjo speed Roman, that would be annoying because now the S2 I think is going to be crazy. Gravitation number 2, so the very bottom one, 50% to dispel 1 buff from each enemy. So that's in case you don't like fully strip on the S3, or it could be used for other scenarios as well. But the S2 gravitation has up to 20% CR pushback up to 4 times. So it rolls the proc rate up to 4 times, up to 20% if you mola him, 20% each time. It can push back to up to 80% if you land all of them, which is incredibly crazy. It's crazy. But it's 50% proc rate on each roll though. So there's a lot of RNG. What I always liked about Roman after he got the developers buffs is that you can really throw off someone's speed tuning, because you don't know, like the defense team, or even the offense team, if you do somehow put Roman on a defense team, the offense team actually won't know what sort of combat readiness pushback. It could really throw off a lot of like speed setup. So that's what I really like about Roman. And the other thing is the gravity arrow. So his S1, 75% chance to dispel one buff from an enemy. That's super high. That's as high as an Isla Violin pretty much. But his S1, get this, has CR pushback as well. It's really crazy. So it decreases the combat readiness by 8% and increases the combat readiness of the caster by 8%. You can mola this up to 10%. So in terms of crowd control, I think Roman will be fantastic for RTA. I mean, if people already was thinking about using Bazaar for RTA, I think Roman's a better one. It could really throw in a lot of stuff. The fact is that because, you know, if you soul burn him, it decreases the cooldown for gravitation by 2 turns. It's a 3-turn cooldown, so you could really get that up a lot. So you can toggle his Ancient Book him if you want, but you could run him on Abyssal Crown and even Zero Ren if you really don't have too much of Abyssal Crown, to really throw all of those debuffs in the way of the enemy. All I have to say is right now that in terms of like the exclusive equipment, out of these 3 heroes, the fact that I don't have Lidica is another problem, but I would really build Roman because his exclusive equipment is so good. The thing is that he's not even that bad. 4,300 health. That's okay for a mage. Okay, that's not super low, but of course mage is always low HP. But the defense is really high, 655. So very cool that Roman got a buff on this round. I definitely think that he's going to be used. I think we will see him on a defense team, and we will see him being used on an offense team. And I think he brings a lot of RNG to the table that's really necessary for World Arena. Anyways, so equipment conversion improvements and fixes. So they did hear us. Now we don't need a lot of ingredients. So this is the way I think what people thought it should have been in the past. So you can see that now we don't need to like feed it like a plus 15 equipment plus like a almost maxed out like all 10 slots in order to craft an epic. I think if it was like a plus 13 or plus 15, you would either have to max it out or near max out. But this is much more usable, so that's fantastic. They're removing the monthly limitation too. In my opinion, they kind of over tweaked it. I don't know if this is a good thing. In terms of like, I guess it's not that bad. The only thing about the monthly limitation being removed is that, of course, whales will just get stronger. Because now you can craft as many as you want. The only thing limiting, of course, now is going to be the gems. Maybe they saw a problem in the feature itself, where because people weren't getting gems quick enough, the conversion gems quick enough, in order to tap out all of the limitations per month. Maybe that's why. So now our bottleneck is going to be the equipment conversion gem, which can still be dropped from the world boss, but purchasable through the store. I think it's still there. Yeah, we get an additional one now in the guild member shop as shown below here. Yeah, so that's pretty much it. So gonna be a lot more usable. I think it's a lot more friendly. I think this is where everyone wanted it to be, right? The only fact is that we're gonna roll through the RNG, but that's RNG, that's part of the game. So if anybody complains that, oh my goodness, the RNG is still so bad, please stop crying, because I honestly think that this is as good as it gets. Yes, I still think that the equipment conversion gem, the selectable one, being for the transmit stone, I think it's 15. It's still very, very expensive. But the fact that, yeah, maybe you can get it from a world boss drop, but pretty much never. And then two random ones, I think it's okay. I don't foresee any more improvements. I think this is satisfactory to what people expected the conversion system to be. I think if they released it this way, it wouldn't have gotten such a big like rage fit thing from the community. But anyways, that's my thoughts on it at least. Holiday theme. Don't let this be a spoiler. If you guys think this looks familiar, it's because you're not wrong. We're gonna talk about that in a bit. They decorated the lobby. That's kind of cool. Changed the background music for some Christmassy, probably some jingle belly kind of ching 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 kind of thing. And then let's see here. Let's move down. There's a couple things. Pet improvement and fixes. So consumption of handmade snacks will repeat battles will be changed so that they're consumed at the end of the battle. So of course they're gonna keep the handmade snacks. All right, enough. I'm not gonna be complaining about it anymore. It's not that I'm satisfied with handmade snacks. I still don't like the handmade snacks, but the fact that now they don't charge it until at the start of the battle, that's a good thing. That's for some scenarios. And yes, this one as well. This is good to have, so it won't be consumed. So sometimes, like if I'm running like Banshee one shot and I'm using handmade snacks, it's kind of salty when I fail. Like, so for example, like I fail to proc the defense break or something, and then I have to consume the handmade snack. So it really gets me paranoid. So I'm really not autoing Banshee with the pet feature. I'm always still monitoring it. So it's like no different from me actually pressing the repeat manually myself. But now the fact that this is implemented, I think it will not be consumed. So that's a good thing. Improvements made to synthesis second pet. I don't really want to talk about the synthesis, to be honest. This is just, yeah, whatever. We'll go. Some new highlights. Game improvements. This is an interesting one though. The game UI improvements. About time that they did this. This was funny because a lot of people didn't know how to check their rank experience. So this one here. Oh, that's smaller than the preview. How does that work? That's I'm trying to enlarge the. Okay. Anyways, the thing is, like, a lot of new players like, oh, how do I check how far am I from the rank? You usually have to go to settings and then go into like friends. It's very hidden and actually makes no sense to me, like where they place it. But now this kind of works, so this is great. Finally, they got it. This is good. The filtering system, reputation is nice too. I love the numbering, so you know like actually how many are you missing. See, I think that's it. This one's pretty cool. Epic 7 will now load even quicker. I wonder how they got that to work. It loads pretty quick already, but now that it loads quicker, I'm interested to see. Definitely one of the highlights for me from Epic 7 from the get-go is that they've always had like no loading. I mean, the only thing that triggers me is like if I lose my Wi-Fi connection in between, it's got RAS running, you know, or if the servers are down, it's got RAS running. It's like sometimes it's as bad as a load, but I get it because it's like, you know, it's trying to like send data and receive data in real time. So I mean, it's necessary, but I wonder what the load quicker means because it's already pretty quick to me. So I'm definitely interested to see that. Let's see here. Anything else I wanted to bring up? No, that's pretty much it. The other thing is, of course, the holiday side story preview. So a small miracle will be upon us. So yes, I already saw the comments on the stove page here. It is kind of disappointing that they're rerunning the holiday event. Now, in terms of, I gotta say this here. In terms of how much flack like Epic 7 is getting in terms of not releasing new content, this is not helping. This is really not helping. One of the things I think a lot of players were looking forward to is the Christmas event. Like, seriously, guys, I mean, like, Smilegate, like, I'm trying to back you up here, but you're really, like, pulling the floorboards from under me here. I really can't back you up if you're gonna do this. Like, I myself, I'm, like, I was really looking forward to Christmas. Yeah, same emblem, exactly. I was reading someone's stream chat. I was really looking forward to this. Christmas was a big thing. I get the Halloween thing. You did a rerun, but I'm like, okay, and you even reran Luna, and I already gave you crap for that. And this is sorry guys on stream and people watching this later on YouTube. This might be a personal rant. It might be too personal ranty, but this is really bad. Okay, if you guys give us like really crazy rewards, that are totally different, it might change my mind. But at this point, I'm gonna assume that the a small card of miracles, that was the artifact that we got. It gave like 5% attack, and I forgot what the other stat was for the entire team or something. It was like a really bad. I'm sorry. This is very bad. Tula says, I thought he was gonna swear. If I actually swore, I would swear, but I don't swear, so I'm not going to swear. But I'm very, very disappointed. I have to say that the comments on the stove page this round in this patch is very non-toxic. It's very civil, but all the points are like 100% where I'm going. And they're like, are you rerunning this? Seriously? I'm very disappointed. You guys technically had a whole year. Here, this is what big games do. In terms of holidays, what they do is at least they plan 6 months, maybe even 3 months at the minimum in advance to set up for, hey, what do we want our Christmas campaign to be focused on? What do we want to give our players, right? But if this is the same exact event, actually no, you know what? I take it back. Regardless, if you're gonna give us like really good like stuff, that's gonna be great for newer players. It's gonna be sort of okay for like mid-game players. End-game players, no matter what you give us, yes, we'll take it. We'll be thankful regardless, okay? So that's a separate thing. We'll be thankful for your gifts, but the event is so... it's so disappointing. It's so disappointing, I have to say. You know what? Like, when people started downvoting, like, Smilegate, and like downvoting in the app store or whatnot, I wasn't one to go downvote it. And you know, I think that, you know, maybe it's a good thing people are doing it, because it might like spur up some change. Now I get it. The downvote thing only happened like a week to 2 weeks ago, right? The riot only happened like only a short amount of time. But this guys is no excuse. You're basically proving, like, what have you been doing? What have you been doing for the past like 6 months to a year, right? Like absolutely, I'm mind blown. Like, this is unacceptable on any type of level. I would actually prefer, like, I don't know, like remove world boss. Don't hype it up. Like, just give us like the Christmas events, man. I'm serious, right? Like, Christmas event. It's a freaking Christmas miracle. It's a miracle. It's a miracle that you guys didn't get anything done. I'm very disappointed, I have to say. This is probably the most disappointed I've been ever after all of the crap that has been given in the past couple months. Like, this is what my breaking point. So you guys hear it on stream now. Sorry guys. I know that there's a lot of you guys that watching me, and you're like, Jagan, you're like, I like you because you don't go like crazy or whatever. I'm sorry to disappoint. This one, I have to say it, because to me, Christmas events are like one of the biggest things. Like, this is Jagan at his rudest point, such a Canadian. Proto Nova. This is, to me, like, Christmas was like the biggest thing. Like, look. I got 2 weeks off. Like, I don't have to work. I want to grind the story, right? I want to put love into the game. 2 weeks off. 2 weeks off. And this is a rerun. Okay, I think I'm done. Okay, I'm done. I'm done. That's it. In terms of the other updates, okay, cool. Kieran's getting exclusive equipments. All that stuff. That doesn't take away from like the cool stuff. I can separate my feelings and judging the cool content from the really bad content. Anyways, I just have to say, guys, this Christmas will not be a miracle. It will not be a miracle. I'm gonna end this one here. Catch my next video on my thoughts for the Wanda specialty change and the Violet banner. If you're a new player, you probably want to stick around just to hear my thoughts on that one. Code has been telling me that he's gonna allow me to pull triple S on his Violet, so I'm very excited about that. So another viewer summon coming as well. But I'm gonna end this RBTL here. If you guys have Discord, check out the Discord server. Follow me on Twitter. Subscribe to YouTube if you haven't. As always, thank you guys for watching, and apologies for hearing my very, very rated R rants. All right, parental discretion is advised. Just a voiceover for you guys. I'm gonna end this here. See you guys next time. Signing off now.